Okay, let's dive in. We're looking today at Hamilton Garcia-Jr. Everyone knows him as Bird.
Right. An incredible life story.
It really is. Takes us from a small town in Brazil all the way through, well, the world of millionaires, patents, digital education now. It's quite a ride.
And the sources we have for this deep dive are great. They're excerpts from his own memoirs, his life story, so it feels really personal.
Yeah, like we're getting it straight from him.
Exactly.
So our mission today really is to unpack what the key moments, right, the surprising turns.
And the thinking behind it all.
Yeah.
What makes his story so, well, compelling.
Especially how these like incredibly diverse experiences shapes not just his life, but how he teaches English, which is pretty revolutionary.
Really, because this isn't just about learning English, is it?
No, not at all.
It's about adapting, finding your passion, sometimes in really unexpected ways.
And weaving your whole life into it.
Yeah, your calling.
So let's start at the beginning. Early 1970s, Uberlândia, Brazil, Minas Gerais.
Right. You have to picture it, sort of countryside vibes, but buzzing with curiosity.
Transistor radios, kids flying kites.
And running around barefoot or on bikes. Yeah, vinyl records playing, that kind of thing.
And Bird is a kid?
The sources paint him as really curious, restless, loved exploring.
Played goalkeeper, collected bottle caps.
Stickers, yeah. Loved music. You mentioned the radios, MPB, Brazilian popular music, but also the Beatles? Queen?
Sounds like his parents encouraged that sort of exploration.
Well, really reading, observing, asking questions. And laughter, that seems key too. A foundation of curiosity and joy.
Right. And then, age 12, something clicks. Big time.
His first English class. At CCAA, which was, a big language school chain then.
You just went along.
Yeah, with mild interest, apparently. But he came out feeling like there was a fire in his heart.
Wow.
He said English just sounded like music. The rhythm, the sound of it felt like a passport.
A passport?
Yeah.
That's interesting for a 12-year-old. A passport to what, do you think?
Freedom, maybe? Connection? Something beyond Uberlândia. And it just lit this fuse for self-study. An obsession, really.
But you didn't fancy tools or anything back then.
Oh, minimal is putting it mildly. A cheap record player. That's about it. No easy way to record himself practicing.
So what did he do?
He'd buy these little booklets, magazines from newsstands, but the real goldmine was LPs, vinyl records.
Teaching English.
Yeah, through dialogues, stories, he listened relentlessly, dozens of times, mimicking accents, intonation, repeating everything out loud.
He'd even explain it back to himself.
In English, to make it stick. Incredible drive.
While other kids were collecting comics, he was collecting phrasal verbs.
Exactly. That detail says so much, doesn't it?
It really does.
And this passion, it didn't just vanish when he went to university. UFU, the Federal University of Uberlândia.
He studied biology, though.
Yeah.
At 17.
Yeah, loved nature, the local Cerrado biome. His final research was actually on butterflies.
Butterflies.
Patterns, life cycles, adaptations. But English was always there, humming in the background.
It's funny, butterflies and verb tenses. You can sort of see a connection, that scientific eye for patterns.
Maybe. It's fascinating how those two interests ran side by side. But the thing that really set his path professionally came when he was 21.
An English school opened near the university.
Right near campus. They needed teachers, and Bird, well, he didn't have a formal English teaching degree then.
But he had the passion.
Oh, yeah. He applied, got the job, started teaching basic intermediate English, mostly to other uni students. Engineering, medicine, law.
And that first class, he just knew.
That's what he says. From the very first class, Bird realized this was what he was born to do. Just an instinct.
Oh.
A rhythm for it. Empathy. He could, sense when a student was scared.
And use humor to break the ice.
Exactly. Break down that fear, build their confidence. Gently.
So it wasn't just dry grammar rules.
No way. He made it alive. Verb tenses came with stories. Vocab came with songs. Phrasal verbs. Personal anecdotes, usually funny ones.
Connected to life, not a textbook.
Precisely. And it worked. Students learned faster, they spoke more. They'd even come back after class just to chat in English.
Because they enjoyed it.
Yeah, so the word got around, that young biology student teaches English with music and passion.
Which led him to a pretty long stint at CCAA, right? 12 years.
Yeah, he really liked their method. Dialogue-driven, interactive, got people talking early.
But he added his own spin.
His spice, he calls it. Real-life stories, slang he'd picked up, British, American. His whole personality went into it.
Organizing camps, conversation marathons.
English nights with sketches, music, food. He wasn't just following the book, he became a real mentor there.
Okay, so he's built this really unique style. But then, around 94, he decides to travel. Cross continents.
Yeah, time for a different kind of immersion. He moved to Bromley.
Yeah.
Just outside London.
To work on his own English.
Exactly. Sharpen it up. He took CPE prep classes. That's the Cambridge Proficiency Exam. Really high level. Polishing the Queen's English, you know.
And then a huge shift. The U.S.
First stop, Santa Barbara, California. Working for a very wealthy Brazilian family, the Pereiras, as an interpreter.
But not just language interpretation.
No, it was like interpreting a whole lifestyle, negotiating with contractors, managing staff, even helping set up a vineyard project.
Wow, that's intense.
Total immersion in a different world. Lasted about 8 months.
So he's suddenly dealing with high finance, luxury, complex deals.
Absolutely. And when the family moved, he went with them to Fort Lauderdale, Florida.
And that was a longer stay.
2 years, 7 months. He calls it sun-soaked sophistication.
And his role got even bigger.
Way bigger. Not just household stuff. Now he's dealing with city permits, staff coordination, and the big one, working directly with USPTO lawyers.
The U.S. Patent and Trademark Office.
Yeah. On the family's big invention, a 4-digit digital key lock. Revolutionary tech.
Ah, the patent labyrinth. This sounds complicated.
Oh, it was. B.I.R.D had to get fluent in leaves's. Fast.
Terms like prior art, utility claims.
Market strategies, all of it. He was deep in discussions with attorneys, making sure everything met USPTO rules, handling technical drawings, specs, translations.
So much more than an interpreter.
The memoirs call him a consultant, a fixer, almost a ghost CEO guiding this whole thing.
Incredible adaptation.
Yeah.
Using his language skills in such a high-pressure specific field.
And this was all happening alongside, the lifestyle.
Jaguars and jet skis part.
That's the one. Parties on the boat, cruising the intracoastal, driving the Jag. He had the suits for meetings, the polos for casual.
Yeah, you mentioned locals called him the butler with the brain.
Yeah, and he just found it amusing, let them think that.
I love that. He's in this world, living it, but also observing it, like he's gathering material.
Totally. What's really striking is how deeply he absorbed not just the words, but the mechanics. How things worked at that level. Legal stuff, bureaucracy, strategy.
Which loops us back to Uberlândia. He goes home eventually, but he brings all that back with him, doesn't he?
Oh, completely. That whole world came right into his classroom. His stories, they made grammar real in a way textbooks just can't.
Practicing customs interviews, writing emails to imaginary embassies.
Telling tales about Boca Raton billionaires who couldn't spell yacht. His school became like a portal, he says, connecting Brazil to these global experiences he'd actually lived.
And he used those fixer skills locally, too.
The bureaucracy ballet, he calls it. Same tactics. Persistence, charm, clear writing, helping locals with visa forms, resumes, drafting emails to consulates.
Making bureaucracy feel almost poetic.
Apparently. Using skills honed in the U.S. right there in Uberlândia.
There's that irony, though, isn't there? The millionaire's shadow.
Yeah, it's striking. He'd helped launch businesses, dealt with the IRS, real estate, named a tequila brand.
But happiest back home teaching.
Seems so. Sipping coffee, explaining a tricky phrasal verb. He tasted that world, but his real passion was still teaching, connecting through language, changing lives that way.
Then he shifted gears again into a really intense environment. The Anglo years.
Right. Teaching junior high school kids, specifically prepping them for Brazil's university entrance exams. Paese, ENEM, vestibular.
Those are huge. Super competitive.
Immense pressure. Everything hinges on those scores. Precision in language, understanding texts, it's critical. One mistake can cost you.
So how did his teaching style fit that? It sounds quite different from the anecdotes and songs approach.
He adapted. He talks about the classroom becoming a war room. Focus.
Oh, so.
Training critical thinking, surgically breaking down texts, logic for multiple choice questions, academic writing discipline, rigorous stuff.
But still with a bird touch.
Still with humor, connection. Students, even under all that pressure, they apparently loved him. Grammar felt engaging. English felt relevant, achievable, because of how he taught it.
And after Anglo, there was INEI-COC. The COC Chronicles.
Yeah, similar vibe. Blending structure with that improvisational flair, humor and discipline. He even got into curriculum planning there.
Still connecting with students, especially the ones afraid of English.
Absolutely. Turning fear into fluency. Patience, relatable examples, and yeah, the punchlines still worked.
And you hear about former students.
Many became teachers themselves or successful professionals, and they'd come back and say, you know, Bird, I passed because of you.
That's huge. More than just a test score, it's about unlocking potential.
Exactly. Which brings us pretty much up to date. The latest chapter, The Digital Frontier.
He thought about semi-retirement.
The idea came up, but
No.
doesn't seem like it's in his DNA. He has to keep building, keep connecting.
So, B.I.R.D Online, the digital school.
Still based in Uberlândia, but reaching globally now. Online classes, virtual coaching, same signature humor.
Fix your broken English.
That's his call to action, and students worldwide call him the English Maverick.
And those old fixer skills, the U.S. experiences, they still pop up.
They do. He talks about helping a student with a J-1 visa application that's a specific U.S. visa.
And it brought back memories.
Oh, yeah. Dealing with USCIS, immigration services, even a funny story about a zoning board in Boca Raton rejecting a sign because the color was too tropical.
Ah, that's amazing.
His students get the benefit of all that real-world navigating he did.
In the lessons in luxury. What did he take away from the yachts and Jaguars period that informs his teaching now?
It seems like tasting that world actually reinforced his core belief rather than changing it.
Which is?
That fluency isn't about sounding perfect or sounding like someone else. It's about being understood, respected, feeling empowered to use the language for your goals.
Confidence through connection. Purposeful communication.
Exactly. Not just technical skill for its own sake.
And all these stories, they led him to actually write them down. The Book of B.I.R.D.
Yeah, students and friends kept encouraging him. The memoirs are apparently packed with anecdotes, lost passports, weird IRS calls, boat problems.
The Nobel Prize author mistaken for a plumber.
That's in there too. It's framed as his gift to the world, sharing these vivid snapshots.
And the digital school, B.I.R.D Online, it's more than just classes, right? The rise of B.I.R.D.
It's really become something described as a movement, not just a platform. A different way to learn.
B.I.R.D, that's an acronym.
Bringing innovative and rapid development. The whole point is getting students talking, fast, fluently, and without fear, right from the start.
So it's deliberately not traditional teaching.
Definitely contrasts. Forget starting slow with, hello, how are you? He throws them in the deep end.
Debating controversial topics, discussing news.
Sharing opinions. Making mistakes is encouraged. Celebrated almost. Learn from it proudly.
So B.I.R.D's role is more like a facilitator.
Provocateur.
Stirring conversation, provoking thought, and weaving the grammar, the vocab, underneath it all, naturally, as it's needed.
It sounds like coaching, storytelling, immersion, all mixed together.
That's a good way to put it. Every mistake is a teaching moment. Every silence is a cue. Every laugh builds connection, fluency through using it, connecting, not through chasing perfection.
And it's reaching a lot of people now. Yeah, hundreds of videos, live classes, coaching. He's mentoring teachers globally now, coaching executives, doing webinars in English and Portuguese.
It really is an amazing summary, isn't it? A guy from the Brazilian countryside mastering this global language and using all his life experiences to teach it and change lives.
Absolutely.
And the story's not over. The future perfect.
Feels like it. He's expanding the platform, launched a podcast, mentoring young teachers, pitching course ideas to big publishers like Cambridge.
He's teaching people how to dream in English.
That's a great line from the sources. His story is still turning the page.
Definitely.
So when you look back at the whole journey, that kid in Uberlândia mimicking LPs, to this, well, global English maverick,
Yeah.
It's so clear how every single piece fits.
Every experience is woven in, nothing wasted.
And the big takeaway for us, for you listening, it has to be about that power of passion, right? Adaptability.
And integrating your whole life, the messy bits, the unexpected, turns into what you do. That creates real connection, unlocks potential. Fluency, whether it's language or anything else. It's not just the technical part.
No, it's confidence. Born from connection, from using what you know for a purpose, drawing on everything you are.
And it really makes you think, doesn't it? What about your own life experiences? Skills from a totally different job, maybe, or a hobby?
How could those inform how you learn or communicate or teach?
What unexpected skills might actually be your biggest strengths?
Yeah, it challenges that whole idea that learning happens neatly in a box, right? It's enriched by everything.
So if learning a language is like getting a passport, B.I.R.D's story shows your unique life journey, gives you the visas, the stamps.
Nice analogy.
What kind of fluency with purpose can you build using all those unexpected skills and experiences you've picked up along the way?